Plenty of NFL rumors to discuss on today's mailbag. I am Will Scott. You are watching NFL Daily. Thanks to all of you who are asking questions during our live show. We go live every Monday and Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. We begin with Mark, $5 Super Chat. We appreciate you, Mark. Big fan of Lamar. He's a runner, not a passer. That aside, even if he was a great passer, the issue is he refused $200 million guaranteed and is often injured. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a concern with Lamar. He's actually missed 10 games the last two seasons. 11 games if you include the playoff game he missed. So that's a concern. The durability concerns are there. And he reportedly wanted a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson. Now, we have heard from him since saying he does not necessarily need a fully guaranteed deal. But we'll see. It does feel like the Ravens, though, are kind of tired of negotiating. But I also feel like Baltimore's could have handled this a lot better than they have. Ray Bidding, $5. We appreciate you. Could you see Lamar sitting out? Of games? No. Of training camp, OTAs, all that? Yes. I do not think Lamar is going to report to OTAs or camp any football activities until he gets a new contract. But do I think he's going to sit out games? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, he could sit out training camp. I could see that. This thing could drag on for a while. This is not a situation where he requested a trade's going to get done. He requested that trade on March 2nd. We're already 3 weeks into this thing. We haven't really heard anything about a team that could emerge here. This could drag out. Andrew Kirk, we appreciate the super chat. Thanks for supporting the show. Parley May saying, Lamar is Lamar worth the Colts number 4 pick? Yeah, I would trade the number 4 pick for Lamar. You're probably going to have to trade more than that, quite frankly. But if you're the Colts, I think the only way you get Lamar Jackson is if you trade that number 4 pick. Now, if the Colts were smart, here's what they should do. You ready for this, Producer Jack? Here's what they should do. If they feel like they can get Lamar Jackson, and they're not thrilled about Levis or Richardson or any other quarterback that could be on the board at 4, you trade back to, 14 or 15, acquire future assets, and then trade the pick that you traded back to for Lamar Jackson. That's what the Colts should consider doing here. GM Willie. Clancy Williams. Could the Rams move on from Matthew Stafford? I don't think so. His dead cap hit is just huge. Even if you trade him, that dead cap hit's going to be big. But we've heard things about, just some uncertainty about his future in Los Angeles. So the health concerns as well. So after next season, maybe, I don't expect that to happen before this season. Should the Rams move on from Matthew Stafford? Y for yes, N for no, down in the comments. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Should the Rams move on from Matthew Stafford? It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when that break comes, go down, chime in. Should the Rams move on from Matthew Stafford? Neil, $1. We appreciate first-time super chatter. Shout out to Neil. First time super chatting here on the show. We appreciate Neil supporting Chat Sports here. Carter Reimer with an interesting question. Could DJ Fluker be Miami's answer at right tackle? Well, DJ Fluker tweeted at me last week, Carter, that he wants to be a Dolphin. So, I'm paraphrasing a little bit there. But he did say that's fact straight up when I said that I was going to talk that into existence, him coming to Miami. So, he did have a brief stint with Miami during the 2021 offseason, got hurt, got cut with injury designation. So I think, he still feels like he has a lot to prove in this league. He's gotten back into shape. The transformation's been incredible. He tore it up at Alabama's Pro Day. Could it be the answer at right tackle? I'm not sure. But at the very least, the Dolphins could bring him in to compete for a spot. He also has a lot of experience at guard. So he might be a better guard option than Eichenberg and some other guys that you have on that team. So I'm very intrigued by the idea of DJ Fluker getting back in the league, and I think the Dolphins are a fit there. Evan Fullerton saying, so you'd rather have Tua over Jackson? Need to take a sip of tea before answering that. Here's what I'll say to that. Is Tua Tagovailoa the better quarterback over Lamar Jackson right now? No. Lamar's won MVP. Tua's had one good season that he didn't even stay fully healthy in, right? So Lamar is the more proven quarterback. But would I trade multiple first-round picks if I'm the Dolphins for Lamar Jackson when quarterback is not a team need? Quarterback is a team need for the Colts. It's a team need for the Falcons. It's a team need for the Commanders. I just don't think it makes sense for Miami when you have a guy you feel really good about that played really well last year, led the league in quarterback rating, that fits in McDaniel's scheme well, to give up on him, to trade away your future for Lamar Jackson, a guy that's missed more time the last 2 years than Tua Tagovailoa. You heard that correctly. Lamar has missed 10 games the past 2 seasons. Tua has missed 8. 8 games is concerning. The concussions are a concern. But it just does not make sense for the Dolphins to give up on Tua, to trade multiple first-round picks for Lamar Jackson. I just do not think that makes sense for Miami. I think Miami should continue to build around Tua. They've certainly done that with the weapons they have. They've improved the offensive line a little bit. They still have some work to do there. But Tua, I think, should be the guy in Miami. Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer both have said that he's going to be the guy going forward. The NFL Draft is coming up next month. Go and pick up your NFL Draft hats right now at chatsports.com/NFL Draft hats. All of these are so fresh. Really, really like what they've done with the Caps this year. Duh, Bears, go get that one. Duh, Broncos, go and get that one as well. Chatsports.com/NFL Draft hat. Who's a Titan? Who's a Steeler? They're going to be putting on those Caps next month at the draft. You can be repping them. You can be repping your team before the draft, though. Chatsports.com/NFL Draft hats. That link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Andrew Kirk, we appreciate the super chat, my friend. Lamar to the Raiders because Jimmy is trash. I think when you're thinking about a clear loser this offseason, it's got to be the Las Vegas Raiders. There's absolutely no question the Raiders have been the biggest loser this offseason. You had some good quarterbacks available, and you go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo? I just don't get it. And the only reason they did it was because of the Josh McDaniels connection. They've added a bunch of former Patriots that kind of fit the McDaniels system. Josh McDaniels, though, I just don't think he's the guy. I mean, quite frankly. So what the Raiders have done is really weird. And if you're the Raiders, like, if you have a chance to go get Lamar Jackson, you should go get Lamar Jackson. But you gave Jimmy Garoppolo this contract, and yeah, you can probably get out of it after next year. But Jimmy G's going to be the guy this next year, which just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And, Jimmy G, to his credit, had a good year this past year. But if you're a team in need of a quarterback, Jimmy G would not have been my first call. They were all in on Jimmy G from the jump there in Vegas. James Heiner, do you believe the Panthers will go with either Young or Stroud for the number 1 pick? Oh, for sure. They're definitely going to go with one of those guys. And I know we've heard Anthony Richardson linked, but Richardson is not linked. I should say, is not as proven as Young or Stroud. Now, in terms of Young or Stroud, I think it's going to be C.J. Stroud. You heard Josh McCown say at C.J. Stroud's pro day, like, "Hey, when you live in Charlotte, we're going to find a court, to play some basketball on." I mean, I think they're going to draft C.J. Stroud. Even before that comment, there's a lot of speculation. So I think C.J. Stroud's going to the Panthers, and I think Bryce Young is going to the Houston Texans. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to have you covered with the draft. And if you just love the NFL, you've come to the right place. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Go and subscribe to the channel right now. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Mike Dibble, we appreciate the question. How about Frank Clark to the Cleveland Browns? Mike Dibble, one of the Chat Sports legends. We appreciate Mike. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. I like what Cleveland's done this offseason. They could still bolster up that defensive line. Jadeveon Clowney's not coming back. So Frank Clark, I think, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like that, Mike. That's a good take right there. Dr. Pancake saying over under 5 quarterbacks in round 1. Under. It's funny, like we could see 4 quarterbacks taken top 10, probably will. And then I don't think we're going to see another quarterback taken first round. I don't think we're going to see another quarterback. Who? I think Hendon Hooker's falling in the second round. I think the torn ACL is a concern. I like Hendon Hooker a lot, though. So I would say 4. Tanner McKee might be the 5th. Hendon Hooker might be the 5th, but right now I'd say under the 5. GM Evan Henders, Carson Wentz to Green Bay to back up Jordan Love. Is Carson Wentz going to play this year? Like I don't know if there's a place for him. I really don't. But Green Bay would need a backup to back up Jordan Love. Carson Wentz is still available. I think he's still available for a reason. Brandon Tunn, which team makes the biggest jump next season? That's a great question. Here's some teams to watch for there. The Texans are going to be a lot better. And I love what Houston has done in free agency, adding all these veterans to come in and instantly improve this football team. Kind of similar to the approach the Jags took last offseason, and that worked out very well for them. So the Texans are going to draft Bryce Young or Stroud. They're going to have a good rookie quarterback, a lot of talent around him. You added Devin Singletary. You added Dalton Schultz. You added Noah Brown. You got Robert Woods. This Texans team is going to be a lot better. The Saints are going to be a lot better. They'll probably go from 7-10 to 10-7, 11-6. I think win that division with Derek Carr. The Bears are going to go from being the worst team in the league to being a team that might contend for a playoff spot. I really do believe that. I think it's an 8 or 9 win team in Chicago this next year. Justin Fields is going to take that jump. The Broncos are going to be a lot better under Sean Payton. They're going from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton. That's a big difference. They're going to be better. And then the Cleveland Browns, I think. You're going to have Lamar Jackson likely out of that division. They could go from 7-10 to 10-7. Full season with Deshaun Watson. Really big season. I like what they've done in the offseason, adding some guys. So, Cleveland is a team to watch for here who could take a big jump this season. But I could also see a situation where Deshaun is not good and it's a dumpster fire of a season in Cleveland. I don't think there's any in between. Which team takes the biggest jump next season? Let me know down in the comments section. Is it the Texans, Saints, maybe the Colts if they go out and get Lamar Jackson? Let me know down in the comments section which team takes the biggest jump. Ethan, speaking of Lamar, saying, where do you think Lamar Jackson ends up? We put out a video earlier, so be sure to check that out. Top 10 Lamar Jackson destinations. I feel like the Colts are going to make a pretty serious run. But if I'm Lamar, and I've probably earned the right at that point to kind of choose where I get traded to, would I choose Indianapolis? I just don't know. Now, Shane Steichen's a great coach, so we'll see what happens there. But if you're talking about the most realistic option, I think it might be the Atlanta Falcons. I know they've said they're out, but they should reconsider because the Falcons, I think, make a lot of sense for Lamar Jackson. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you missed our mailbag, we go live 2 times a week, Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Hope to see you on our next one.